Unmastered. I'm Emma.
And I'm Gohar.
And we are uncut and on the record with your favorite bands. Today we are sitting down talking to one of my favorite musicians. Super excited she's here. So we're going to go ahead and let her introduce herself with some starter questions for you. What's your name? Where are you from? What's your favorite ice cream? And what's your most vivid childhood memory?
Well, hello. My name is Jessica. I go by Disco Shrine. What are the questions again?
Where are you from? What's your favorite ice cream? And what's your most vivid childhood memory?
So I'm from the Valley. My favorite ice cream.
Shout out to all the Valley girls.
Yeah, shout out 818. My favorite ice cream is Rocky Road.
Nice.
And then
Most vivid childhood
memory. That's a hard one. Let's see. My most vivid childhood memory is probably going to see Madonna when I was like 9.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Like in LA?
Yeah, in LA. It was at Staples Center. I was really young. My sister was obsessed with Madonna, and she got an extra ticket. Tickets were so expensive back then.
I bet, yeah.
And it was between me and my other sister, and I think we did like something silly like rock, paper, scissors, and I ended up winning, so I got to go with my sister.
Oh my gosh. I bet your other sister was just like...
She was really sad.
This is a horrible day.
Yeah, but it was just amazing and so fun, and it was like my first ever concert, and it was Madonna.
That was your first concert?
Yeah.
Madonna was your first concert? That is like quite the high bar.
I know.
It really is.
Honestly, no concert has ever been the same
Really?
since.
Oh my goodness gracious. Quite a way to start off your concert career there.
Yeah.
So how's your day today?
It's good. I'm just trying to escape the LA heat.
Oh,
So
tell me about it.
yeah, but it's going well.
I know Gohar's wearing a sweater in this heat.
Don't remind me.
Like, and I'm wearing long sleeves.
I know, and I'm wearing all black.
Yeah. We did not plan properly. But that's okay. It's fine. It's SoCal. You gotta
It's
roll with
September.
it.
It's technically autumn. I'm just ready for it.
True.
There we go. So, this is your favorite question to ask. I'm gonna let you ask it.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, so, cool. Tell us about yourself. Who the hell are you?
I'm Disco Shrine. I was born in the Valley, like I said.
Nice.
I started writing music when I was 16. I picked up guitar and banjo and started making folk music. Yeah.
Wow.
I was super
That's
into
so
folk
dope.
music when I was younger. Yeah. And that was really fun. I used to be like a hippie flower child. I wore hats every day and long dresses and floral all over everywhere. And that was really fun. And that's kind of how I started, getting into music. And then from that, I started writing more electronic stuff and more pop stuff. And I started collaborating with other people. And that's kind of how Disco Shrine became Disco Shrine.
Nice.
Started out as folk. I mean, you can't really call folk disco.
No.
Hey.
No, you can't, but that's really interesting. Do you still know how to play the banjo?
I still have it in my room.
Oh my
gosh.
I know.
You know what you should do? You should make a song with the banjo, but like an electronic song. Like, give
And
it
then
like
just,
an
like,
electronic twist.
Sneak it into the bridge, no one will know, and you'll be like, by the way, that was me.
I know.
Play banjo on an electronic pop song. Who else has done that? No one.
Nobody.
We'll see. I still write on banjo sometimes.
Do
So
you
I'll write some
really?
songs, but so far banjo hasn't quite made the cut in as far as production goes. It's an interesting sound, It's very interesting, but it would be cool to kind of.
That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Banjo. Like, was that the first instrument you learned how to play? Or?
Guitar was the first, but guitar and banjo was definitely around the same time.
Yeah, definitely. And are they similar or are they very, very different?
They're different.
Okay.
They're different.
Yeah, I mean, they both have strings. But,
Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, the banjo has a long fret, and then there's like a kind of shortened one
Yeah,
at the
yeah.
top.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm describing that right.
You are.
Okay.
Yeah. It's also a different amount of strings, and then usually for banjo, you use finger picks, and it's like...
That's right, the multiple... It's such an interesting instrument. I actually really like it.
You know who I really like watching Steve Martin on the banjo.
Oh, yeah.
My gosh, he's fantastic.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't
he
realize
kills.
how talented he was.
Yeah.
And I saw it the other day, and I was like, I am very impressed by this man. Banjos make me happy. Mumford & Sons used to do banjos, not so much anymore, but...
Oh, I know.
Banjos are so good. You gotta bring them back. Bring back the banjo.
Maybe I'll do something.
So you grew up in the Valley, you grew up in LA, and then right out of high school you moved to Brooklyn, correct?
Yeah, so sort of. It was after, so I have this like weird kind of school history. I graduated high school when I was 16.
Okay.
And then I started taking classes in community college, and then somewhere in the mix of community college, I ended up moving to New York.
Okay.
And I got a job there doing event planning stuff. Like basically, I was working this festival, and it was called Hester Street Fair. And it was really fun, and I was like, when am I ever going to be able to go to New York again at such a young age and get paid for it and all that stuff. So
is that the reason why you moved out there, was for the job?
Well, the main reason was I actually really wanted to go to New York.
I had that exact same feeling.
Yeah.
Like, I want to go there, but I don't know what I would do.
Yeah. It was just kind of perfect. Like, at the time, a lot of my favorite musicians were coming out of New York, and in Brooklyn specifically. And so it was just always this place of inspiration, but I had never been there. So this opportunity kind of came along, and I was like, yes, I'm going to go. I'm going to write music. And I wrote music out there, and it was super fun.
So what was that experience as a whole, like being in New York, like especially being kind of, you were somewhat, like your parents didn't obviously come with you, so you were out on your own at such a young age.
Yeah.
So what was that like? I
was out alone. It was really fun. It was very eye-opening. You know, it's just... It definitely, like, made me extremely independent, and it was really cool to see the different music scene that's out there. It was also nice that I kind of didn't know a lot of people, because in a way I had to put myself out there, and so I was able to meet a lot of really cool people and talented artists and just kind of explore, and I think it served as, like, sensory overload inspiration. I just seen so many new things and experienced so many new things that by the time I got back to LA, I had just so much to, you know, think about and write about and want to just express and get out of me.
So how long were you in New York for?
I was there for close to a year.
Okay. So what made you decide to come back?
Honestly, New York is so expensive.
So is LA though.
Like, I worked a bunch and I saved a lot of money, and I was able to go out there, and I was making a little bit of money while I was out there too, but it's just people out there work like 3 jobs and barely make it. So
yeah, I would say, because it's really small space. You have to, in order to be there and to be successful and to, you know, live, you have to work a lot. And, you know, you don't get to experience a lot if you're working a lot.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I definitely didn't think that. No, if you have to work 3 jobs, you really don't get to experience the things that you're there to experience.
Exactly.
So, New York definitely has a different kind of hustle than LA.
Is it more of like a nitty-gritty hustle, whereas here it's more of like, compare. I'm actually really curious right now. Like, what's the difference?
Yeah. Well, the hustle is just like real. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just people, unless you hustle, if you don't hustle, you know, you can't pay for rent.
Yeah.
Whereas here, I feel like it is kind of more of a laid back kind of thing. But don't get me wrong, people definitely hustle here too.
Yeah. I think I'm picking up on what you're saying. I do think maybe you could skate by a little bit.
You can see it more. It's just more obvious in New York.
In New York, everyone's like, do or die, like, get it done.
Yeah, and everyone's in such close proximity too that you're kind of in everyone's space, and they're in yours, and you can kind of like you just see so much, and there's so much emotions, and everyone's going through so much, and it's right in front of you, and it's out in the open for everybody. Whereas here, people can kind of like hide it, you know. you can go. You don't have to commute to work. Like if you have a bad day and you want to go home, you want to cry it out, you're in your car and no one has to look at you. But there you're taking the subway, it's real.
You're just in the corner with your hood on, just cry.
Oh my god. So I never thought of that. Wow.
Oh, yeah. It's a sensory overload, being in that close proximity to that many people, seeing everything they're experiencing.
It definitely teaches you not to care what people think.
Yeah. You know, that's a good thing to learn, though. It really is.
Yeah.
Because you know, you put your headphones in and it's your time.
Yeah.
You kind of zone everything else out.
Wow. I bet that must have been a very eye-opening experience for you. Yeah. Not many people get to experience that, so that's very good. So, what's the story with you and UCLA? Did you go there for a bit? I
did. So, I went to community college for a little bit, and in that time, I moved to New York, but I also figured out what I liked, what I didn't like, and I explored like a bunch of different things, and eventually I transferred to UCLA, and I studied communication, film, and digital media there.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was really fun. During my time at UCLA, I kind of got into the festival world.
Yes.
So I started off working at Sundance Film Fest.
Oh, nice.
Up in Park City, and then
I love Park City. I love Main Street.
It's beautiful.
My family lives there, so it's like you're walking in a postcard, really.
Yeah, it's so true. And it was really cool. And after that, I kind of just started doing tons of different festivals. Like I worked South by Southwest.
You volunteered all of these?
No, I was actually getting paid.
Oh, wow. See,
yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah, I interned a lot when I went to community college, and I did volunteer a lot. And I just got so much experience that by the time I went to UCLA, people were just hiring me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I skipped a lot of school.
Good for you.
Like, it was the kind of thing where Sundance is in January, and it was the first few weeks of UCLA, and I skipped, I think, 3 weeks to go work Sundance. And UCLA's quarter system.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You jump back in and you're at midterms.
Well, yeah, there's only 12 weeks.
Yeah.
So I got in, and in like 2 weeks we had midterms.
Oh my gosh.
And it was kind of super crazy, and I don't know how I managed to do it, but somehow I did.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, but it was always like that. I was always kind of skipping school to do like other work opportunities, and it's just, you know, school is so wonderful and I love it so much, but I always figured that school's always there.
Yeah.
But, you know, certain opportunities aren't always going to be there.
Definitely.
So it was fun. I did South by Southwest, I did Outside Lands, FYF, and tons of different festivals, and I still do that today, actually.
That's so awesome. Do you get paid to
I do.
Like work these, or do you eventually want to perform at these?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I got to. So while you were at UCLA, you got involved with kind of a lot of cool projects with some of your peers. Do you kind of credit that as being the beginnings of Disco Shrine? Or do you think it evolved shortly after?
No, I do. I think at UCLA was definitely kind of interesting for me. I feel like it was so much work, and I was also just working so much and doing so many different things that in some ways I kind of put music on hold.
Okay.
And it became more of like a therapeutic kind of thing that I would do when I was having like breakdowns. You know?
That's totally cool as well.
So it was kind of like, you know, when like shit hits the ceiling, I'd like slam it out on my guitar in my room, you know?
It's a good outlet to have.
Yeah, but then every time it was summer, like summer would come around and I wasn't so busy with school, I would always go back to music, and I would hang out with my friends and jam with my friends and start writing more songs and doing all of that. And it was the kind of thing where every summer I'd go back and I would get back into music and like, you know, reignite this flame that I had. So when I graduated, it was kind of like I had these jobs lined up, and it was kind of like, do I go and, you know, give up something I love so much and not pursue it and do the full-time thing where I have a full-time job, you know, desk job, 9 to 5, or do I, you know, make the harder choice and pursue my dreams? And I decided to do that.
I mean, that's a hard decision for anyone to make. And I think sometimes people will lean towards the 9 to 5 just because they don't have that courage to do it. So to be able
more
to
stable.
Yeah.
I will say, like, I feel very lucky because towards the end of my senior year at UCLA, I just started meeting a lot more musicians that I was collaborating with, and through all of those good collaborations, because collaborations aren't always, you know, if you have a session with someone, it's not always great.
Yes.
But I was just kind of on a roll, and through all of that, Disco Shrine kind of formed. It came together, and that's also where I met my UCLA is where I met my director for all of my music videos. Andrew Butte. He's amazing. We had film and communication class together.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, we had to do this horrible project. It was the worst, but we were meeting like every week, and he started listening to my music and he really loved it, and through that we came out with our first music video, which is Shy. And we've just stayed in touch for all these years, and every time we go to San Francisco, because he moved out there, we hang out, we get coffee, and
that's fantastic. I think that's so important to build these relationships and bonds with people that are worthwhile and they mean something and they'll last. So that's fantastic. I'm so glad you have that. So I mean, like, after that, you kind of spent quite a few months DJing, correct? Mm-hmm. And you're on the road with Dance Yourself Clean. You played, I think you said Seattle and here. I mean, how did you, like,
so I started DJing like by accident.
Okay.
I started DJing by accident. Essentially, my friends, French Horn Rebellion, they were planning a album release show in LA, and they asked me to DJ for it, and I was like, okay. And I did not know how to DJ at all. I just said, okay. And so I ended up hitting my friend up who DJs, and we got together and he taught me how to do it, and I just practiced for like a few weeks.
Oh, wow.
I just practiced for like a few weeks, and my friend he taught me like very well. Like, he's an awesome DJ, and he let me borrow all his stuff, and I just got up there and I did it. And after that, I fell in love with DJing, and once people found out that I DJ, like, people would ask me to DJ their shows or their release parties or things like that.
Awesome.
And so I somehow just like suddenly became this like DJ.
So awesome.
And it was like never quite my intention, but it was so much fun, and it was like really fun to have a different outlet for music too, that isn't just my original music. Because there's so much pressure that goes into your own stuff, and you put so much of yourself into it that it can be a little bit stressful and overwhelming. But DJing was like the complete opposite.
Gosh. It seems like it was so much fun. I mean, seems like these nights are filled with a ton of energy. You crowd surfed at one point. Like,
I did.
What was the life on the road with that? Must have been.
It was really
crazy.
fun. So I ended up meeting the guys that run Dance Yourself Clean. Their label is called Lights and Music Collective, and they throw a bunch of different parties all around the U.S. And a few internationally too.
Oh, cool.
And I ended up playing at DYC. They had me be a special guest, and then they flew me out to Seattle and had me play there during Capitol Hill Block Party, and we just became really good friends. And once they found out that I DJ, they ended up reaching out to me and asked me to play one of their other parties, which is called Beyonce versus Rihanna.
Yeah, what is
that.
up with that?
I saw that, and it sounded very intriguing, and I really wanted to go to it. But yesterday, I came across one that said Hannah Montana versus the Jonas Brothers.
Oh my gosh. I know, there are so many, there's so many.
Yeah, can you explain that kind of show? Because I'm not
Yeah. Well, I can't say anything for other parties that do it, but for us, we have Dance Yourself Clean, which is our like indie pop party.
Yes, I've been to those. They're a lot of fun. Yeah,
it's super fun. And then we have Candy Pop, which is our like bubblegum girl 90s party.
Oh, fun.
And that one has like cotton candy. We play NSYNC and Spice Girls and all of those kinds of artists. And then we have Beyonce versus Rihanna, which is kind of like my baby. I do all the Beyonce versus Rihanna shows. And then we have Drake versus Kanye.
So is it like you're actually playing their music?
Uh-huh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so it's just like back and forth. And then it's just back and forth. It's literally Beyonce and Rihanna all night,
like
back and forth.
It's gotta be like an insane night. Just so much fun.
It's insane. Like, they sell out. Like, San Francisco, I'm actually playing it tomorrow night. It's 1,500 capacity.
Oh my gosh.
It, like, always sells out. I just did DC a few months ago, and people were waiting in line and then running up to the front and then staying in the front until like 2 a.m.
Oh,
like the front row is just hardcore fans just singing along to every single song.
Wow.
And it's crazy because it's like, I'm not Beyonce. I'm not Rihanna. but
you are for the night though. I mean,
I know it's really fun, but it's kind of cool. It's really cool to see this. It's really cool to be a part of this community of people that all come together because of this mutual love for music.
Mm-hmm,
and it's really cool to be kind of that person that gives that to them.
That's so cool.
And
so you're obviously still doing the DJ thing.
Yeah.
Gig, so, I mean, how is that different from performing as Disco Shrine?
It's different. It's definitely different. Disco Shrine, like, feeds my soul. It's just like, it's completely me, and it's completely what I love doing, and afterwards I'm always like, yes, like, this is why I do this, you know? But then DJing also feeds my soul in a different way, and more so of it just acts as an outlet for me to play music, but not have to be super stressed about it,
That's
you know?
a nice way to have that, like, different way of performing where it's ever so slightly a little more laid back.
Yeah.
And a little more fun and
absolutely. And for the Beyonce Rihanna parties, I actually go and I sing a few songs too.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and then we also have an MC, D'Angelo, and he's kind of the host of the night, and he'll bring people up for certain songs.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
Yeah, like we have birthday cake. We'll always get birthday people up.
Wait until I turn 21 so I can officially go to one of these.
It's super fun.
That would be so fantastic.
Yeah.
I know, you seem like you have a lot of energy, and you seem like you're very social and very much so self-made. And you're very much yourself, which is fantastic. I mean, do you think you you do a lot of talking for yourself as well? I mean, like, we communicated solely with you to get this set up, whereas sometimes we go through managers and publicity people, and you're very much your own person, and you have a voice for yourself, so you have a very positive personality as well. I mean, would you consider yourself to be this, like, extrovert? Like, do you think you're more extroverted, like, by nature, for sure?
I am an ESFP.
Oh my gosh, we're gonna do that. Oh my god, ENFP is mine.
Oh, I get along with ENFPs really well.
See, this is great.
I don't know
what
mine is.
It's the Myers-Briggs personality test.
Okay, I know that for sure. I'm an extrovert.
Yeah.
Yeah, ENFP, ENS.
ESFP.
ESFP.
So extroverted, sensing, intuitive, and perceiving.
Nice.
Basically, I am the entertainer. Like, that's what it's called.
Wow.
Yeah, it's actually called that.
See, it's perfect. It's meant to be.
What is this again? I need to do
it. It's the Myers-Briggs test.
Personality test.
All
it's
right.
actually quite interesting. I think all of our audience, go take it, have your family take it, and you can understand a lot more about yourself and the people you're surrounded by when you take it.
It definitely is very true. Like, I'm extremely extroverted.
Yeah.
I get energy from being around other people. Yeah.
That's awesome. So we're going to kind of switch gears a little bit. You are someone who, family is very important to you and a big part of your life. Can you tell us more about your family dynamic? You are obviously part of an immigrant family. What was it like to kind of grow up in that family environment?
It was great.
Of course it's great.
Wow. To summarize, great.
Pretty cool. It was pretty cool. Yeah, I'm really close to my family. I didn't have a lot of family out here growing up at first. It was essentially me, my mom, my dad, my sister, brother, and my grandma. And slowly but surely, like, as soon as my family got their citizenship, they slowly started bringing the rest of my family here. And now I feel like I have, like, a good, strong, like, Persian family
Awesome.
in LA. But
were you born here?
I was born here.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Just wanted to kind of clarify because my parents are also immigrants,
Yeah.
and I was born here, but I have cousins and stuff, other extended family that live here. So it's really interesting to know that your immediate family was the only family you had here.
They were the ones, without them, without my mom and dad, we really wouldn't have had family in America. Mm-hmm. They were kind of the first ones to take the step to try and come out here. Mm-hmm. And it was definitely, like, growing up, there was definitely some struggles. You know, when you come out to a new country, it's a new place, it's a new language, it's new rules, new customs, new ways of working, and they definitely had to maneuver through. Mm-hmm. But I feel really lucky. I feel like in a lot of ways, they always made me feel like I could have whatever I want if I work hard for it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, and they definitely never spoon-fed me anything. My mom is probably the hardest working person I know, and my dad is also really, really hardworking. And I feel like, going back to what you said about me kind of being my own manager, and, you know, I feel like that same work ethic has kind of been passed down to me. Mm-hmm. And I just like being in control of what I do and of who I am.
Yes, of course, yes.
You know, because it's all so close to me. But yeah, it was really nice. It was hard growing up in some ways, but I feel like in the Valley, it was such a melting pot of different people. And, you know, I had friends of all different types of ethnicity that I never felt like I was different. Yes. But I will say that I used to not be quite as proud as I am now about, you know, my heritage and being Persian. And I think it was just because I didn't know as much about it. And, you know, when you're in middle school, people are such bullies. And when you're in elementary school, people are such bullies. And if you're not the same as everyone else, then they make fun of you.
You know what I find so interesting is that everyone is trying so hard to be different. But then when you are different, it's like, why are you not the same? And I think it's such an oxymoron, just overall. So
I definitely feel like I had to water down parts of myself when I was younger. But it wasn't until I got older and I started asking questions and started learning more about my family and their history that I just became really proud of it and proud of what my parents went through to get us here.
I mean, that's kind of what your song was, Up in the Air, from released back in January. I mean, that's kind of the whole story of them coming over here, correct? And that whole uncertainty.
It is. It's inspired by that.
Was that kind of like an ode to your parents? Just like a little, like,
it was.
Love letter to them,
well, I think what happened was it was Thanksgiving, and I realized that this was kind of in the midst of all the whole Trump stuff. You know, he wasn't president yet, but all of these things were happening, talks of borders being closed and things like that. And I realized that I never asked my parents about how exactly they came to America and what happened and what the story was. And so I sat them down, gave them, like, very strong drinks, and literally made them answer every single question I had. Like, I think at one point my brother yelled at me from across the room. He's like, Jessica, like, leave them alone.
Oh, no.
Like, stop asking them questions. It's supposed to be a party. You know? And I just kept asking them questions, and I ended up finding this crazy, insane story that was almost like a movie. It was like, my dad was a political journalist, and he got imprisoned for saying things during the Iranian Revolution. Wow. And he had other family that was also in prison and killed while they were there, and he was probably on the road, you know, to having the same fate. But then, you know, everyone was escaping during the revolution, and they ended up paying somebody to write a fake doctor's note saying that, you know, his son was dying, and so he had to go all the way to Turkey to take care of that, and then they just never went back, and they escaped.
Wow.
Yeah, and
that's insane.
I got goosebumps.
It was literally insane. And then together they kind of just traveled throughout Europe trying to find a way to come to America. And he met someone high up in the government in Austria who really liked my dad. Oh, wow. And
nice.
He just really liked my dad for some reason. My dad is quite charming.
As are you, so we see where you get it.
But he ended up getting my family green cards to come to America, and they flew on a military plane where the seats were on the side of the plane into New Jersey. And that's kind of how they started their life here. And when I heard that, I was like, what? No, that you? Like,
my dad?
You and you? No. But it was just kind of so crazy, and I was just so shocked by it all, and even more shocked that it took me that many years to find that out, that I was just so, it was just constantly on my mind. And I remember, like, I just got really emotional about it. Like, I was crying.
It's okay. I mean, that seems like a very
just because it's just, you know, when you think about all the fact that my life would be so different if I wasn't here. And so I ended up getting in the studio shortly after, and Up in the Air came out in like an hour. It was like done in an hour.
That song was meant to be made. You know when it flows out like that. It was meant to be made.
So it wasn't necessarily like it was definitely like an ode to my family, but it was more so just I was just inspired by what they told me, you know.
Yeah. I think we're gonna go ahead and take a listen to Up in the Air so you can all hear that story.
I see the way you're looking back, you thought you had it. Your freedom was there, and then they came and stole it. Up in the air, you thought you wouldn't ever make it. You found it, you found it now. I see the way you hold your breath, it's complicated. You lift your head and you fight for those who couldn't. Up in the air, you thought you wouldn't ever make it. You found it now. You're taking me for the ride of my life. You can't say lose your pride, 'cause I'm granted. I'm finding me in my strength, don't be sad. Up in the air, that's all we have. Yeah, I'm granted. Up in the air, up in the air, up in the air, up in the I see the way you're looking back, you thought you had it. Your freedom was there, and then they came and stole it. Up in the air, you thought you wouldn't ever make it. You found it now. You're taking me for the ride of my life. You can't say lose your pride, 'cause I'm granted. I'm finding me in my strength, don't be sad. Up in the air, that's all we have. Yeah, I'm granted. Up in the air, up in the air, up in the air, up in the air. You're taking me for the ride of my life. You can't say lose your pride, 'cause I'm granted. I'm finding me in my strength, don't be sad. Up in the air, that's all we have. Yeah, I'm granted.
So you just heard Up in the Air by Disco Shrine. It's fantastic. I woke up with it in my head the other day, actually.
Oh.
and I was at the music video release party, so that was fun. I met a lot of people. I actually met Dakota.
Oh,
so
lovely.
He was telling me about...
Would you like to tell our audience who Dakota is?
Oh, sure. I think he was the director of the music video.
He's the DP.
So
Andrew, cinematographer.
Was Andrew the director?
Andrew Butte is the director.
Same one who did Shy.
I
love his. I don't know if it's your vision that he captured or, I don't know how you guys work together with that, but I really did love it. And there's pieces of Shy that I absolutely loved. And then when I found out it was the same director, I was like, I can see
the correlation between
the two of them. Mm-hmm. Exactly.
That's
Since
awesome.
we're on the topic of it, this video is it's a lot I want to talk about the video, but it's very like fashion centric, I think, in the best way possible. It's just one element of it. There's so much going on, but that one definitely. So, personal question for you is, how would you describe maybe like your personal fashion style, which I totally love?
Yes.
Do you have any inspiration or influence? Did that come out in the video?
Yeah. I did all the styling.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That makes me even more impressed.
She had a vision, obviously.
I feel like a vision board, just like up.
Yeah. I will say though that me and Dakota worked together to, see what coloring would be best in what locations. Mm-hmm. But I'm so passionate about clothes. Like, even when I was young, I used to, go into my mom's closet and try on all of her fur coats and steal all of her everything. And I have horrible just photos of me in middle school trying out really bad combinations of clothes that if anyone saw today, it would be bad.
Okay, it's creativity. It's expression.
Yeah, I've always been about, I've always thought of clothes as like a different form of expression. And so I wouldn't say I have a specific style. I would say it's constantly evolving. And it depends on my mood. And definitely. In a way, I kind of look at clothes as like a costume. Okay. And it's sort of how I'm feeling that day, or what I'm going for in that night, or what that setting might be like, or, if I'm feeling girly one day, or if I want to wear a skirt, or, or if I want to be weird and wear something really odd.
You definitely have some cool pieces. I think in the video you're wearing these, like, red leather shorts with these, like, funky cutouts, like, just to add this cool element to it, so...
Yeah.
Your attention to it was
Speaking
very
of,
perfect.
I think I remember seeing a picture of you wearing plastic see-through pants.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
Can we talk about that?
Sometimes I look back at